Well, Brian, thanks again, sir, for joining us on the program tonight. A lot of stuff going on in Utah these days.
Yeah, there are a number of bills there. Never a dull moment this time of year.
No kidding. Let's get started with the what I consider to be kind of the fun piece of legislation that everybody's freaking out about. This is, of course, the 100th anniversary of the 1911. We talked about this at the SHOT Show. It seems as if every fire manufacturer is coming out with their commemorative edition. And the state of Utah, being home to John Moses Browning, wants to celebrate this. They've got a piece of legislation. States have state rocks and state birds and state songs, whatever else. Well, I guess the legislators want to make the 1911 the state. Is it the state pistol or the state gun of Utah, Brian?
It's the official state firearm.
Okay, the official state firearm. Now, as I just kind of explained it, there really should be no reason for people to freak out. But Brian, there are people who are wigging out over this idea.
Yeah, well, I think there are three people in Utah that that freak out over firearms issues, and yeah, two of them are legislators, and one is the head guy for Utahns Against Gun Violence, and ironically, the guy's name is Steve Gunn. I don't make that up. But
Really?
yeah, he came out on the hearing and testified. Gave this long, impassioned speech about why Utah should not recognize the history of one of their most famous residents and just an unmatched inventor. It was just all silliness, but the committee passed the bill.
Well, that's good to hear. Now, the other piece of legislation that is probably going to have more of an impact for folks, including folks outside of Utah, the Senate has passed a bill that has some changes for the concealed carry license, right?
Yeah, yes. It would basically say that if you are a non-resident and you live in a state that either recognizes Utah permits or has reciprocity with the state of Utah, then you have to have a home state permit before you can apply and obtain a Utah permit. And here's the story.
Okay.
Utah, we've done too good of a job in Utah, quite frankly. The laws in Utah are really good. The permit is a good permit. It's recognized by many states. It's relatively inexpensive because the legislature hasn't been punitive and they're not trying to make money off permit applicants like in most states. And it's good for 5 years. So because of all those factors, the Utah permit has become very popular. And you don't have to be a resident, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
You can apply as a non-resident. So it's just a great law, and it's working great. There aren't any problems, like in most states, with permit holders, regardless of whether you're a resident or non-resident. But what's happening is a lot of non-resident applicants, non-residents are getting the Utah permit and carrying in their state that recognizes Utah permits rather than getting their own home state permit.
Yeah.
Take, for example, Texas. So in Texas, the Texas firearm instructors are raising a big stink about, and also the bureaucracy in Texas is raising a stink because Texans aren't paying money to Texas instructors, and they're not paying money to the Texas Department of Public Safety to get a Texas permit. They're getting a Utah permit and then carrying in Texas. So these Texas instructors, I'm hearing from folks down in Texas, are going to legislators and looking to rescind the recognition of Utah permits. And Texas would be the third state. Nevada and New Mexico already rescinded the recognition of Utah permits. So Utahns who are losing states that they can take their permit and go carry in are in turn now up in arms. So they're looking to cut off, to come up with a solution to stop the bleeding, so to speak, to prevent other states from rescinding the recognition of Utah permits. So initially, they were just going to say that we're not going to give them to non-residents. You have to be a resident of Utah.
Oh, wow.
Well, I've been working with them and got them to back off from that, and then the original bill that was introduced had really awkward language, and it wasn't clear what it did. A lot of people were concerned that if you lived in a state that did not issue permits, then you would have to have a home state permit. Just really, really poor language. So NRA got it amended, and currently it says if you live in one of those states that recognize Utah or have reciprocity with Utah, then you have to have a home state permit. So all the instructors and all the other states are going to be happy now. They're going to get their business. And, then residents in those states can still get a Utah permit if they want the Utah permit for its
additional reciprocity,
its widespread recognition and reciprocity.
Okay. Now, do you know, Brian, just offhand, and I don't know the answer to this, are there a lot of may-issue states that have reciprocity with Utah? I can't imagine that there would be.
No, in fact, that question has come up, and we've done some research, and the only state that we can find that falls into that category is Delaware. And Delaware is a may-issue state, but what I'm hearing is that they really are quite equitable in their issuance. If you're a qualified individual, even though it's may issue, you're going to get a permit. I'm still looking into the possibility of trying to further amend the bill to address that and to say that if you in addition to the states that don't recognize Utah, if you're in a state that is a may issue state, discretionary issue, then you don't have to have a home state permit. So I'm going to look into that and see what we can do. At this point, it might be a little bit tough because the sponsor of the bill he's got out on a limb and he took our First Amendment and is talking it up. So we're going to try to do that, but whether we will be successful remains to be seen.
All right. Well, Brian, again, I appreciate you coming on the program and talking with us about the latest in Utah. I look forward to doing this again very soon.
Okay. Likewise. We'll talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you, sir. Brian Judy, NRA ILA's Utah State Liaison, joining us here tonight on Cam and Company.